I've always been a massive Star Wars fan. How it's seemingly just fantasy but in space. The impact it has made on fiction as a whole is undeniable, even though some parts were more of a miss than a hit.
Now that's a lot of damage!
I'm not here to speak on the quality of the writing, the acting, the visuals. I'm sure that alone and small YouTubers such as myself cannot possibly convince you of an opinion you don't already hold going into this video. I'm here to analyze the lore. How does it fit into the grander universe? Does it even fit? Short answer from what I know about the Acolyte so far: yes, it does fit. Easily even. The long answer? Well, I guess you clicked on that video to find out. So grab your blue milk and welcome to the Elden Nexus, a place where the spark of fiction converge. I hope you enjoy. First things first, what exactly is the High Republic? Well, picture this. It's about 200 years before the Skywalker saga kicks off. The Republic is at its peak, the Jedi are in their prime, and the galaxy is in a state of relative peace and prosperity. It's a golden age where exploration and innovation are booming. Think of it as the Renaissance period, but with more lightsabers and starships, and less plagues and paintings. The High Republic era was marked by its advancement in technology and culture. Citizens lived in well-developed planets with sprawling metropolises, advanced starships, and bustling spaceports. Much like Coruscant today, but shinier and fewer Senate scandals, probably. People had access to the latest in droid technology, and there were all sorts of new innovations making life easier and more exciting. There were arts and cultural festivals, and because it was a time of relative peace, the focus was on exploration and expanding the Republic's reach to the Outer Rim territories. Can you imagine signing up for a mission to chart unknown regions of space? Well, that was the kind of adventurous spirit that the era thrived on. And what about the Jedi? Well, the Jedi Order was at its most powerful and respected. These weren't the war-weary Jedi of the Clone Wars, they were more like the galactic peacekeepers and explorers. The Jedi Temple on Coruscant was a bustling hub of activity with younglings training, knights going on missions, and the council overseeing everything with their usual wisdom and occasional cryptic comments and tendencies to swap things under the rug to avoid a political drama. Jedi traveled across the galaxy, helping to mediate disputes, explore new worlds, and protect the Republic from threats. They were seen as heroes and protectors, a symbol of hope and justice. And let's not forget, their fashion sense was on point. That yellow they were using, whew, and the flowing robes.
Oh, yeah! That's what I'm talking about! Jeez!
But of course, it wasn't all starshine and space roses. The High Republic faced its own set of challenges. Enter the Nihil, a group of space pirates with penchant for chaos, and the Drengir, terrifying plant-like creatures with a taste for the dark side. These threats kept the Jedi on their toes and provided plenty of action and drama. Because what's a Star Wars story without a little conflict, right? Pretty lights and shooters do distract nicely from some dialogue options. First up, let's talk about the Nihil. Like I said, they are a group of space pirates, but way more ruthless and with a knack for causing chaos. These guys are the ultimate gang of the Outer Rim, if you will, thriving in the lawless regions of the galaxy where the Republic's influence is weak. The leader of these marauders is Marchion Ro, the Eye of the Nihil. This guy is as cold and calculating as they come. He inherited his style from his father, and he turned the Nihil into a more organized and formidable threat. Under his leadership, the Nihil became the stuff of nightmare for many peaceful planets. The Nihil operate with a unique, anarchic structure divided into three main factors called the Tempests. Each Tempest is led by a Tempest runner, and with these Tempests you'll find clouds, strikers, storms, representing different ranks. It's chaotic, but hey, if it works for them, who am I to judge their organizational structure? Now, here's what makes the Nihil truly dangerous. Their access to unique hyperspace routes called paths. These paths, provided by Marchion Ro's father, allow the Nihil to appear and disappear unpredictably, making them a serious threat to the Republic and the Jedi. Their motto? You are Nihil. You take what you want, you keep what you can get. Pretty much sums up their philosophy of survival through fear and violence. These guys aren't just about stealing and pillaging, they're about creating chaos and making a statement. Now let's switch gears and talk about the Drengir. If the Nihil are the chaotic space pirates, the Drengir are the creepy plant monsters straight out of a Dark Souls-esque nightmare. These sentient plant-like creatures have a strong connection to the dark side of the Force and are just as terrifying as they sound. The Drengir were originally contained by an ancient Sith, but were accidentally released during the High Republic era. Their reawakening is tied to the Jedi's exploration activities, particularly involving ancient Sith artifacts. So next time you think about touching one of those, maybe think twice about doing so. As you might have seen on the pictures already, these things are massive. Thorny plants with tentacles and monstrous appearance. They can regenerate from injuries and spread rapidly, taking over environments with their influence. The Drengir's main motivation is pretty straightforward. They want to eat everything. Seriously, they see all other live foods as food. All other live foods as food.
The fuck?
Seriously, they do see all other life forms as food. They communicate telepathically, manipulating and corrupting beings with their dark side connections. The Jedi have their hands full with these guys. The Drengir's dark side influence and rapid spread makes them a formidable enemy, forcing the Jedi to balance their efforts between battling the Nihil and dealing with these relentless creatures. Both the Nihil and the Drengir present unique and formidable challenges during the High Republic era. The Nihil, with their anarchic and ruthless tactics, create chaos through calculated attacks and hyperspace manipulation. Meanwhile, the Drengir, with their dark side connection and insatiable hunger, spread fear and corruption, forcing the Jedi to confront ancient evils and their own vulnerabilities. In my opinion, these antagonists enrich the lore of the High Republic era, offering fans a deeper look into the complexities and dangers of this golden age of the galaxy. They push the Jedi and the Republic to their limits, making for some epic and, well, quite intense storytelling sometimes. Now that we've talked about the time period, we can talk about Disney's latest milk from the Star Wars cow, the Acolyte. I don't actually mind the Acolyte.
You serious?
Yes, it has weird moments and hiccups, but to call it bad altogether is a stretch in my opinion. This is the fast food of TV. Mass-produced and not exactly gourmet, but it gets the job done. In my book, it's a perfect example of a 5 out of 10 show. There's definitely room for improvement, but it's not the disaster some are making it out to be. Anything below it would be a fail, but it's only half bad. Pun very much intended. So what is the Acolyte all about? Set roughly 100 years before Qui-Gon decided to bring baby Hitler into the Jedi Temple, May is on a mission to hunt down the Jedi who wronged her. Wronged in very much parentheses. Meanwhile, Osha is initially getting the blame for it. The show takes us to some new, but albeit rather uninteresting locations that get as much attention as Luke gave to Rey when they first met. Yes, I'm still salty about that. But it's not all bad. We get some characters that I personally really like, such as Master Sol. I can't exactly put my finger on why, but he just embodies what I see as a Jedi who truly believes in what he's doing, be it right or wrong. He's some sort of beacon of conviction almost, in a show that sometimes feels a little all over the place. Look, I won't lie to you. What people online are saying about the wokeness is just all wrong. I don't see what's woke about this, unless wokeness now just means women and people of color. Because in that case, yes, the show is woke. Does that make it bad? No. Neither does it make it better. There's just people playing the role that they were cast in. Like, who cares? The main debate online stems from 3 points as far as I've seen. 1, that the Sith haven't been seen in so long it breaks canon. 2, the way the twins are born breaks canon. And 3, well, stupid points like knives kill people now. Yeah, I don't know either. I saw people complaining about the Jedi in the beginning dying from a stab to the heart, which is, well, a stab to the heart. No? Pretty deadly. Firstly, yes, the Sith haven't been seen in 1,000 years, according to the Jedi Council when Qui-Gon tells them about his encounter with Darth Maul. Even as Master Qui-Gon Jinn himself brings up the potential of the Sith having returned, even then do they doubt him, one of their own. The pride of the Jedi is simply too much for them to be able to look beyond it. No, they destroyed the Sith. It can't be a mistake. That would mean that we were wrong. Ever since the prequels, we saw the Jedi's biggest flaw, their ego. They'll do anything if it means that they can keep up the facade and keep themselves in a position of power. In the first episode, a character even states to swipe the murder of the Jedi Master under the rug simply because the attacker used force. They do not want their failure to destroy the Sith to get out. Having said that, even if a person who sees the red saber survives, I believe their tale will be swept under the rug and won't be mentioned in the Jedi vaults. All that to preserve a precious lie. There were still Sith around during this time period, of course, staying in the shadows and plotting to get back at the Jedi, possibly even influencing the happenings of the High Republic books. This new Sith, however, can actually be so interesting. The philosophy of everyone who sees this red saber needs to die could potentially be so cool. Can you imagine knowing as a viewer that whenever a character sees that red blade, it means that they have seen their own death? They're marked, and now we see their final moments before the inevitable catches up. The second point was about how the twins were created. Yes, you heard that right, created. Now, to the people that don't like it simply because of 2 women being the mothers of the twins, you can get out of here. I'll never convince you of anything. I assume you are here in good faith and are genuinely worried about the consistency of the broader lore. To me, it does not at all interfere with Anakin's birth for a few reasons. Some might be controversial, but hey, do Star Wars fans ever like anything? Firstly, Anakin is in fact the Chosen One and was created by the Force. Secondly, Anakin is a Chosen One, but is created by the influence of Sidious and Plagueis. And thirdly, and my most controversial one, Anakin isn't the Chosen One at all. Some of you might jump me for that last one, but hear me out. First, Anakin was created by the Force to bring balance. Okay, the main difference right off the bat is, well, Anakin got created by a Force, an all-encompassing spiritual force that isn't being influenced by anyone or anything except for itself. The twins, on the other hand, were created using a ritual that forced the Force to react in certain ways. There's a big difference between a natural force on its own creating life and some people forcing it to do so. Second point, Anakin was created by Sidious and Plagueis. I don't personally believe this to be the case, partially because, well, George Lucas said it wasn't. Anakin was born purely from the Force itself, but people have gotten this idea from a comic that depicted Palpatine influencing what seemed to be the fetus Anakin inside of Shmi's womb. Now, I do get why people are trying to say that this image depicted Palpatine creating Anakin, but it is in fact not the case. Yes, the Sith were trying to create the ultimate dark side being. They were bending and twisting the Force in such a way that they wanted to create almost an anti-life of some sorts. Key word, however, is Force. You might remember that I also used that word with the twin. Well, I do believe that the Force seeks balance, true balance, not the balance that the Jedi wanted in the prophecies, but light and dark coexisting. The Sith tried to create a very dark Force, a pure dark being. Instead, they awoke the Chosen One, who brought true balance to the Force. They tried to bend the Force and it retaliated. Now, the twins, is it any surprise that one ended up as a Jedi apprentice and one as a Sith? Maybe it's as if the Force, when pushed to create life, creates balance? Simply put, the Sith forced their dark side when trying to create life, whilst the witches simply wanted life and let the Force do its own bidding. One created their own demise as the Force retaliated, the other created balance, one dark, one light. The third, and of course the most controversial point, is Anakin not being the Chosen One at all. It could suggest that many people in the Star Wars universe are Force-born, as it were. These people would naturally be very strong and attuned to the Force, being able to use it in ways no other can. This would then mean that Kid Anakin was simply at the right time and place, found by a master that was looking for a prophecy rather than a natural occurrence. In the prequels, it has been stated that the prophecy could have been misread and misinterpreted, but what if the whole thing is simply wrong and we were all led to believe it had come true in Anakin, poisoning him at a young age, all because the Jedi were too prideful to see the danger right under their nose and too prideful to admit they had misinterpreted a prophecy that was wrong from its very inception. Anakin, much like these twins, was simply Force-born, like potentially many others. Now, all that being said, I lean to theory number 2. The Force seeks balance and will always act according to balance, causing Anakin to keep on being the Chosen One and the twins to simply be an effect of a ritual that forced the Force to act, 1 natural and 2 created. I appreciate it if you have made it this far. Hearing yet another opinion on Disney's latest show must have been getting exhausting. As I said before though, I give this show a perfectly balanced 5 so far. It's not my favorite, but I've seen way worse. But, and this is a big one, the 5 is only for the first 3 episodes of the show, as those are the only ones that have come out whilst recording this. But by the time that the final rolls around, I'm not sure how my score will have evolved. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you all enjoyed your blue milk. And next video I will dive into even more Star Wars related content. I plan on always making 2 videos per given topic before moving on to a new topic. Not that I'll never return to the Elder Scrolls or to Star Wars, but this way I ensure variety for both you and for myself. Thanks again, guys.